It's almost like a broken record, but gun control and mental health, the issue keeps resurfacing.
Yeah, it really does, DeMarco. You know, the police use something called predictive policing to concentrate their patrols, but predicting who's going to use a gun, whether they're mentally ill or not, well, that's still science fiction. Nonetheless, everybody agrees that something's got to be done. Lester Flanagan was a journeyman reporter with an easy smile and a seething rage that would not be revealed until his last on-air appearance. Whether his descent into violence was also a descent into madness is still unknown. But what is known is that the gun he used to kill Allison Parker and Adam Ward was bought legally.
These people are people who have serious problems, in my opinion, haven't been raised right because they don't know anything about the sanctity of life, and they don't understand how to deal with adversity, and so they take it out on some innocent person.
Indeed, all sides of the gun control debate agree that the seriously mentally ill should not be able to get a gun.
Otherwise, we're going to see the scenario that played out in Charleston, the scenario that played out in Virginia yesterday. We're going to see that played out time and time again.
Predicting who is likely to misuse a weapon, though, is almost impossible. In the meantime, police in DeKalb County are pushing for more training to deal with those who are dangerously disturbed.
Every officer in DeKalb Police will receive that 40 hours of mental health training. And what does that encompass? How to recognize people who may be having a mental health experience, how to approach those individuals, how to talk to those individuals in a way that is non-threatening, particularly if you're in a uniform.
But in the end, Dr. Alexander says even the best training can't always stop somebody from using a gun or the police from using theirs as well. DeMarco?
Yeah. Oh, but something's got to be done to put a stop to it. All right, Keith, thank you.
We want to go back now to the story, the big story everyone's talking about, the TV crew killed on live television. Yesterday's tragic shooting. The father of one of the reporters killed, Allison Parker, says her death is his last straw and that it's past time to crack down on guns.
How many times are we going to see an incident like this happen? You know, Newtown, Charleston, you know, the movie theaters, you name it. It's got to stop. It has got to stop. Nationally, locally, we've got to find a way to keep crazy people from getting guns.
But is it gun control? Is that the issue? Or is the issue mental health? Or is it both? We have two people joining us now, two experts on this issue, State Senator Vincent Fort, who is pushing for gun control, and Jerry Henry from Georgia Carry, who says that guns really are not the problem here. You saw all of this tragedy go down yesterday, and everyone talking about it, I'm sure yourselves as well. So is Allison Parker's father right that we have got to get control of guns in our country, State Senator?
I think he's spot on. You know, Ms. Parker's father, the public generally, believes that we need more gun safety measures. The polls that your station has taken, as well as national polls, show that the public, 80% believe that mental illness is an issue when it comes to gun safety that needs to be looked at.
But you do believe that there should be stricter gun control laws. Jerry Henry, you are with Georgia Carry, so right. you have an opposing point of view, no doubt.
Right, I do. I don't believe it's the gun. It's the person with the gun. It's just like the driver that kills somebody in an automobile.
But State Senator, are you talking about taking guns away from people, or are you talking about stricter legislation around guns?
You know, I do not believe that we should take guns away from law-abiding citizens, but felons, criminals, and the mentally ill should not be able to so readily obtain a gun and a firearm.
So, Mr. Henry, would you agree with that?
We already have those laws. They're already federal laws.
But we're still having problems with it because
they're not being enforced properly.
We have more gun violence in this country than so many other countries around the world who are as industrialized as we are. They have mental health issues as well, but we have a greater number of gun violence instances like what we covered yesterday. So would stricter laws make a difference?
Well, as I said, we've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 gun laws now. Can you tell me one that would make a difference? I think enforcing them would make a difference. And one of the things that Georgia Carry pushed for during HB 60 and the gun bill that we passed in 2014 was that the state, anytime anyone is involuntarily committed to a hospital, the state is supposed to report that to the NICS center immediately and no later than 10 days after that involuntary. So we tightened up things in the mental health area.
Well, the shooter yesterday did get his gun legally. So, Mr. Ford, I have to ask you,
Sure.
I mean, would stricter laws have prevented that?
Well, first of all, it's very preliminary at this point. We haven't done all the investigations. They haven't been complete. But having said that, the fact of the matter is, when it comes to mental health and access to guns, what we're doing is obviously not working. There are a full range of options that we need to look at and that I'm going to look at in anticipation of the new legislative
Give us an
session.
option. Like, what is an option?
Well, the instant background checks probably are not working in Charleston in this instance. There probably needs to be a waiting period. Gun show access is one thing. No background checks for buying weapons at gun shows. There are a full range of options that need to be looked at, but we have to come to a consensus. The public already has. What we're doing is not working when it comes to mental health and access to guns. We need to do better. It's just madness.
What is the holdup? I
Well-
mean, if there is a consensus in the public,
But
and we have legislators who represent the public, what's the holdup?
The holdup is obvious. It's one, the politicians, particularly the conservative Republican politicians, don't reflect what the public wants.
NRA
and
have a
two,
lobby? Have
the
any
NRA and the other pro-gun lobbyists hold great sway at the state capitol. So it's going to have to be a groundswell of grassroots discontent, which I think is building when you see the kind of things that happen in Virginia, the things that we see every day.
Something has to be done. From your point of view, Jerry, I'm going to let you have the last word on this.
Well, first off, there are no, when you go to a gun show, you will pass a background check if you buy from a dealer. There's nothing different about a gun show than there is in his store.
Is anything
But
more,
if it's an individual
If it's
seller,
but if it's
there's
individual,
no background check.
do you
that's
agree
true.
with anything that he has to say?
Well, if there's an individual seller, there's no background check, but that can happen right down here in your parking lot, not at a gun show. So there's no gun show loop. It's a private sale that allows me to sell my private property to another individual. However, there are federal laws that prohibit me from selling my firearm to someone whom I suspect or whom I know to be a felon or be a prohibited person.
So your point of view is that we have enough
we have the
regulation.
laws,
You
we just
don't need anything more.
We need to enforce the laws that we have.
How do we prevent from happening again what we saw
Well,
yesterday?
it has been alluded to that he was mentally ill. We don't know that because there was nothing in his background. So how do you know when someone becomes mentally ill? You're talking about a very slippery slope here. I'm not against prohibiting someone who has been adjudicated mentally ill from owning a firearm, but there's a process that we need to take to get those people adjudicated, and then I think that there should be a process that should allow them to return to their former state if they get proper treatment.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but Jerry Henry with Georgia Carey and State Senator Vincent
Thank
Ford.
you for having us.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you both.
Enjoyable as
We'll take
usual.
a break. We'll be right back.